After receiving the product, inspect its appearance, structural parts, and packing list for any damage or inconsistencies with the ordered product. If any issues are found, contact your distributor immediately. Please carefully inspect the contents according to the provided item list after unpacking. If you notice any damage or items missing, kindly reach out to the dealer for assistance. We have accessories at the top, including an installation plate, a user manual, a quick installation guide, and the necessary installation accessories for the packaging. Remove the single-phase hybrid inverter from the packaging box. Take out the installation board. Note: when installing, please use a spirit level or a leveling ruler to ensure that the mounting plate is in a horizontal position. Put the mounting plate on the wall horizontally and mark positions for drilling holes. Drill holes to a depth of 80 mm using the hammer drill. The diameter of the drill bit should be 10 mm. Note: make sure there is no electrical connection. Before installation, before drilling, avoid the water and electricity wiring in the wall. Remove the expansion sleeve and install it directly into the prepared hole or secure the mounting plate. Using the expansion bolts, use an electric screwdriver to install and tighten the self-tapping screws into the expansion sleeve. Install the inverter on the mounting plate. Remove the side fixing screws of the inverter and tighten them using an electric screwdriver. Retrieve the PV terminals and communication terminals from the accessory box. Strip the insulation from each DC cable by 7 mm to 8 mm. Use a dedicated crimping tool to securely crimp the stripped bare copper conductor. Loosen the nut on the terminal housing and slide the nut and waterproof washer onto the PV power line in the correct order. Insert the crimped wire from the back of the PV terminal housing into the terminal, ensuring you hear a click sound to confirm successful fixation. Tighten the cap at the back of the terminal. Be sure to check the polarity correctness. Perform the same operation on the other end, making sure to insert it from the back of the PV terminal housing into the terminal. Once you hear a click sound, it indicates successful fixation. COM connection. DRM-COM connection follows the same process. Use wire strippers to strip a small section of the outer sheath from one end of the communication cable, exposing the inner wires. Insert the wires into the crystal connector, side by side in the specified order shown in the diagram. Use a dedicated crimping tool to securely fasten the crystal connector onto the communication cable. Note: during installation, ensure that the pins at both ends of the communication cable correspond to each other. Install the PV wire with PV terminals into the PV input terminal, located at the bottom left corner of the enclosure. Install the battery communication wire into the COM port, located at the bottom end of the enclosure. Install the Wi-Fi dongle into the Wi-Fi port. Remove the nut and rear cover of the meter communication wire terminal. Take a 2-core communication wire and slide the nut and rear cover onto the wire in sequence. The following video show the back COM signal line position, where pin L connects to the battery _H, pin 2 connects to the battery L. Pin 3 and pin 4 are connected to the battery 12 volts interface positive and negative. Pin 5 and pin 6 are connected to the CU and meter pin to 1 and pin 22. Pin 7 and pin 8 use for DO or backup RS for 85 depending on the model. Plug the backcom plug into the backcom socket on the inverter. Connect the network cable end from the battery meter communication line to the battery's communication port. Take the other end of the 2-core communication wire and strip it using a wire stripper to expose the copper wires. Install the red wire corresponding to terminal 6 into the communication port H of the electric meter using a screwdriver. Install the blue wire corresponding to terminal 5 into the communication port L of the electric meter as shown in the diagram. Terminal 21 corresponds to the H end, while terminal 22 corresponds to the L end. Strip the power wires of the EPS terminal according to the pattern shown in the diagram using wire strippers. Secure a circular terminal on the on line and using a crimping tool. Separate the nut, waterproof washer, and rear cover of the APS terminal. Slide the nut, waterproof washer, and rear cover onto the EPS wire in the specified order. Secure the APS terminal onto the terminal head. Using a matching hex screwdriver, tightening them in sequence, install the rear cover and waterproof washer onto the terminal head from the rear end in the specified order. Please install the EPS terminals to their corresponding interfaces on the inverter, following the example shown in the diagram. Install the APS cable with connectors into the corresponding output port of the EPS air switch. Connect the APS ground wire of the inverter to the main ground terminal. Strip the power wires of the grid terminal according to the pattern shown in the diagram using wire strippers. Secure a circular terminal on the on line and using a crimping tool. Separate the nut, waterproof washer, and rear cover of the grid terminal. Slide the nut, waterproof washer, and rear cover onto the grid wire in the specified order. Secure the grid terminal onto the terminal head. Using a matching hex screwdriver, tightening them in sequence, install the rear cover and waterproof washer onto the terminal head from the rear end in the specified order. Please install the grid terminals to their corresponding interfaces on the inverter, following the example shown in the diagram. Install the AC wires from the inverter onto the terminals using a wire crimper. Install it at the output terminal of the electricity meter and connect the grid ground wire to the pay bar. Follow the video instructions to strip the power line at the bat and use wire strippers to remove the insulation, and then use crimping pliers to secure a circular terminal to the wire end. Separate the nut waterproof washer and backshell from the bat terminal, then slide them onto the bat cable in the specified order. Install the battery cable with battery terminals into the battery input terminal on the right side of the chassis. Connect the other end of the battery power wire to the output terminal of the battery. Strip one end of the ground wire using wire strippers. Use a crimping tool to secure the terminal onto the stripped end of the ground wire. Repeat the same process for the other end of the ground wire. Secure one end of the ground wire to the side of the enclosure using an M5 screw and a Torx screwdriver. Connect a battery ground wire to the inverter enclosure. Please ensure that the ground wire is connected to the main ground terminal, following the specified sequence. Do not connect all ground wires together and then connect them to the main ground terminal. First, turn on the grid switch, then turn on the APS switch. Move the DC switch from the off to the on. Finally, the screen will light up.